Did you see Lionel Messi lose his cool on the pitch against his own countrymen? The tension exploded in front of thousands, and it could have destroyed Inter Miami's rhythm. But instead of chaos, Messi turned the moment into sheer brilliance, showing why critics underestimate him at their own peril. In just minutes, he silenced everyone. But what happened next will shock you and change how you see Messi forever. Stay tuned, because this is one performance you cannot miss. We'll explain everything in this video, step by step. Don't skip it. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because today's headline isn't just football. It's pure Latin fire, Argentine pride, and a masterclass in turning chaos into class. We're diving straight into the drama as Lionel Messi, yes, the quiet assassin himself, found his calm tested in a heated spat with none other than his own countrymen. And when Argentines clash, you know it's going to get spicy. The match atmosphere, electric. The tension, thick enough to cut with a studs-up tackle. One moment, Messi is orchestrating play with that trademark elegance. And the next, boom, a sudden confrontation sparks right in the middle of the pitch. Words were exchanged, tempers flared. And for a second, you'd think we were watching a World Cup qualifier replayed on fast forward. But here's the twist. While the cameras locked onto the argument, Messi did what he does better than any human who has ever touched a football. He let his feet answer. From annoyed to unstoppable, from heated to heroic, Messi flipped the switch, turned the frustration into fuel, and reminded everyone why he's still the beating heart of Inter Miami's dreams. Every touch afterward had venom, every pass had precision, and every run looked like a man on a mission to prove, you can talk, I will play. And oh, did he play? A dazzling dribble here, a slicing through ball there, defenders spinning like they were caught in a carnival ride. Messi took over the match and made it his story. The crowd, on their feet, the stadium, trembling, his opponents, wondering why they ever woke the sleeping dragon in pink. The spat may have lit the fuse, but Messi delivered the fireworks. And that right there is classic football theatre, raw emotion, rivalry, redemption, and the relentless genius of a man who never needs to shout to be heard. Because when Messi speaks through his boots, the whole world listens. So stay tuned, because if this is how Messi responds to a little heat, imagine what's coming next. The heated spat between Messi and his countrymen didn't just spark a brief moment of tension on the pitch. It created a ripple intensity that shaped the entire flow of the match. From the very first second that the confrontation began, you could feel a shift run through the stadium, a sudden electricity that made every fan lean forward, wondering how Messi would react. It's rare to see him lose his cool even momentarily, which is exactly why this clash captured so much attention. The normally calm, composed mastermind showed a flash of raw emotion, the type that comes only when pride, passion and competitive fire collide in the heat of battle. The argument itself was brief but fiery, a moment where gestures, sharp words and frustrated expressions painted a scene that no scriptwriter could replicate. Cameras zoomed in, teammates intervened, and the crowd buzzed with shock and excitement, because this wasn't just a disagreement, this was two Argentine warriors caught in the heat of a foreign battlefield, each wanting to prove a point. But what made this moment so captivating wasn't just the argument, it was the context behind it. Messi, always the symbol of humility and respect, suddenly found himself pushed to a point where instinct took over. Fans watching from the stands and around the world understood instantly that this wasn't disrespect, it was passion overflowing, the kind that fuels the greatest competitors. The spat represented something deeper, something rooted in identity, pride, and the pressure of carrying expectations every single match. Messi's opponent, his own countryman, knew his style, his tendencies and his triggers, which made the confrontation feel even more personal. It's like facing someone who knows your strengths and weaknesses as well as you do, someone who can poke at your patience in a way no ordinary rival can. This wasn't just a clash of players, it was a clash of temperaments shaped by a shared football culture, by years of mutual understanding and rivalry that only Argentines truly grasp. And in that moment, the match transformed. The air felt heavier, the stakes higher, the intensity unmatched. The spat served as the spark that lit a fire inside Messi, one that everyone could see in his eyes as he returned to his position. Even fans who normally remain neutral found themselves pulled into the drama, because this was the kind of moment that reminds you football is more than just tactics and goals. It's emotion, pride and sometimes conflict that pushes players beyond their limits. Messi's teammates sensed the mood shifting, the opposition sensed a storm brewing, and every touch of the ball carried that extra layer of tension. The spat wasn't a distraction, It was the turning point, the trigger that awakened the fiercest version of Messi, the version that responds not with anger but with artistry, the version that turns pressure into performance and frustration into fuel. The confrontation set the tone for everything that unfolded afterward, shaping the narrative of the match and leaving fans knowing they had witnessed a moment that would be talked about long after the final whistle. Messi channeling his frustration into a dominant on-field performance became the defining storyline of the match, a transformation that unfolded right before everyone's eyes. The moment the spat ended, there was a noticeable change in his body language, shoulders squared, eyes sharper, steps quicker, as if the confrontation flipped a switch deep within him. Instead of letting the heated moment linger in his head, Messi did what only the greats can do. He turned that emotional spark into pure footballing brilliance. Every touch he made afterwards seemed to carry a message, each pass delivered with precision that cut through the opposition like a blade. The ball stuck to his feet as if pulled by gravity, and defenders suddenly found themselves dealing with a version of Messi who was not just playing to win but playing to prove a point. His frustration didn't cloud his judgment, it sharpened it, refocusing his mindset and elevating his performance to a level that left the crowd in awe. The rhythm of the game shifted noticeably as Messi took control, steering into Miami's tempo with calm authority, despite the fire burning inside him. When he had the ball, the stadium fell silent, almost anticipating that something spectacular was about to happen. His movements became more intentional, his dribbles more aggressive, and his decision-making more instinctive, as if frustration had unlocked a deeper level of creativity. Opponents attempted to close him down quickly, but Messi danced through challenges with that familiar mix of agility and intelligence that has defined his career. Every time he carried the ball forward, defenders backed off just enough to create the space he thrives in, allowing him to orchestrate play with a conductor's confidence. His passes sliced through lines, his runs disrupted defensive organisation, and his presence alone forced the opposition to rethink their structure. Even off the ball, Messi looked like a man possessed, pressing with more urgency, demanding more from his teammates and raising the overall intensity of Inter Miami's attack. The frustration that could have derailed another player instead fueled his competitive engine. Spectators could see the determination etched across his face, a reminder that beneath his calm persona lies a relentless warrior who responds to adversity not with recklessness but with genius. His teammates seemed inspired by this surge of energy, moving more dynamically, seeking his guidance and feeding off the momentum he generated. Every combination play, every build-up sequence and every attacking movement seemed to orbit around him as though the entire pitch had tilted in his direction. What made his reaction so powerful was the sense that he wasn't trying to retaliate against the spat with more words or aggression. His response was purely football. The more intense the pressure grew, the more Messi rose above it, using technique, vision and creativity as weapons. This wasn't just a good performance, it was a masterclass in emotional control and competitive excellence. Fans watched in admiration as Messi transformed personal frustration into a driving force that lifted the entire team, proving once again that when challenges appear and emotions run high, he doesn't retreat. He elevates, he leads, and he delivers football of the highest quality. Inter Miami's reliance on Messi's composure and brilliance under pressure became immediately evident during the match as the team faced moments that tested both their strategy and their mental resilience. From the first whistle, it was clear that the squad looked to Messi not only for creativity but also for calm direction when the game threatened to spiral into chaos. His presence alone seemed to anchor the team, giving them a psychological edge that extended beyond mere skill. As the confrontation with his countryman unfolded earlier in the match, teammates and fans alike realised that Messi's ability to absorb tension and channel it into effective play was going to be critical. In high-stakes situations, when defensive lines were breached or midfield battles became congested, it was Messi who remained steady, scanning the pitch, measuring risks and delivering decisions with a clarity that inspired confidence across the entire squad. Every pass, every movement and every strategic choice he made carried weight, and the team instinctively adjusted to follow his lead. Messi's role extended beyond simply distributing the ball. He became the heartbeat of Inter Miami's strategy. When the opposition pressed high, the team relied on him to maintain composure and find solutions under pressure, often executing passes that unlocked seemingly impossible spaces. Defenders who were overmatched in one-on-one duels could rely on Messi's timing and positioning to support them, while forwards depended on his vision to create scoring opportunities. His calmness under pressure allowed the team to play with fluidity even when the pace of the game intensified and the opposition attempted to disrupt their rhythm. Each action by Messi carried a dual purpose, advancing the attack while simultaneously instilling a sense of order and direction. He transformed what could have been moments of chaos into opportunities to assert control, turning his mastery of the ball into a tool for team cohesion. Even in moments when frustration might have destabilised others, Messi's composure served as a stabilising force for Inter Miami. His teammates mirrored his focus, responding to his movement, anticipating his passes, and supporting his runs with confidence. The team's tactical execution relied heavily on his understanding of the game, as Messi not only read the flow of play but also adapted in real time, adjusting positioning to counter threats and create advantages. It became increasingly clear that Inter Miami's success in this match, and in high-pressure scenarios in general, was intertwined with Messi's ability to manage both the mental and technical aspects of the game simultaneously. This reliance was not a sign of dependency, but a strategic asset. By channeling his experience, intelligence and emotional control, Messi elevated the performance of the entire squad. Each interaction with the ball, whether it was a short, precise pass or a daring run into opposition territory, served as a template for teammates, guiding them toward optimal positioning and movement. In transition phases, defensive recoveries and attacking build-ups, Messi's influence was omnipresent, demonstrating how a single player's composure can ripple across the field and shape a team's overall performance. His leadership was quiet, yet unmistakable, the kind that commands respect without words, and it was precisely this balance of brilliance and poise that Inter Miami depended on to navigate the high-intensity environment of the match and maintain a competitive edge against the determined opponent. The confrontation highlighted Messi's competitive edge and leadership in a way that few other moments on the pitch could have achieved, revealing layers of his character that go far beyond technical skill. In the heat of the match, as tensions flared and emotions surged, Messi's response to the situation became a case study in how true leaders operate under pressure. The clash with his countrymen, while brief, immediately tested his patience, focus and ability to maintain composure while the stakes were incredibly high. Rather than allowing the argument to destabilise him or affect his decision-making, Messi seemed to internalise the tension, transforming it into a driving force that elevated his play and set an example for those around him. It was this ability to convert frustration into productive energy that underscored the depth of his competitive instinct, showing that his leadership is as much about psychological resilience as it is about technical prowess. From the very next phase of the game, Messi's influence was unmistakable. His movements off the ball, his positioning, and his anticipation of the flow of play all communicated to his teammates the standard he expected them to meet. He demonstrated that leadership in football is not only about giving instructions, but also about embodying excellence in every action. Every precise pass, every incisive dribble, and every clever run sent a clear message. Messi thrives under pressure and expects those around him to rise to the occasion as well. His competitive edge was apparent not only in his individual performance, but also in how he subtly directed the rhythm of the game, demanding accountability, focus, and intensity from his teammates, while simultaneously making critical decisions that advanced Inter Miami's strategic goals. The argument earlier in the match also provided a backdrop that highlighted Messi's capacity to maintain influence even in volatile circumstances. While some players might have allowed such a confrontation to distract or disrupt their performance, Messi's response was emblematic of a leader who understands that emotional intelligence is as critical as physical skill. He didn't react impulsively or escalate the situation. Instead, he let the quality of his football speak for him, showing that leadership is often expressed more through action than words. His teammates could look to him and see an example of how to remain composed, strategic and effective when confronted with challenges that test both patience and focus. Moreover, Messi's leadership extended to the intangible aspects of team dynamics. His confidence under pressure reassured teammates, instilled belief, and created a sense of stability in moments of uncertainty. Even the opposition could sense his dominance, understanding that Messi was not merely participating in the match, but actively controlling the narrative through a combination of skill, intelligence, and competitive drive. By setting the tone through his actions, Messi shaped the tempo, momentum, and psychological landscape of the game, asserting authority without the need for overt confrontation. His example highlighted the rare quality of a player who can simultaneously inspire teammates, intimidate opponents, and maintain peak performance. performance, demonstrating that leadership in football is inseparable from a blend of composure, vision and relentless competitiveness. The way Messi responded to the confrontation emphasised that leadership is most visible not during moments of calm, but in how a player navigates pressure, conflict and adversity, using every challenge as an opportunity to guide, influence and elevate those around him. Messi silencing critics by letting his football do the talking was one of the most compelling narratives of the match, a demonstration of how true greatness responds to pressure, not with words, but with action. In the aftermath of the earlier confrontation with his countryman, there was no room for excuses, no need for public statements or dramatic gestures. Messi knew that the only way to respond to scepticism, to challenge and to heighten expectations was through performance, and that is exactly what he delivered. From the moment the ball was at his feet after the spat, he became a masterclass in focus and execution, using every touch, pass and run to communicate a message louder than any words could convey. Observers, fans and pundits alike could see the narrative unfold in real time. Messi had taken a potential distraction and transformed it into the centrepiece of his artistry, proving once again why he remains one of the most respected and feared players in world football. His approach to silencing critics was multifaceted, combining technical brilliance with tactical intelligence and an unyielding sense of purpose. Messi didn't merely perform, he controlled the flow of the game, dictating tempo, orchestrating attacks and exploiting spaces in ways that left opponents scrambling. Every dribble carried precision, every through ball was weighted perfectly, and every movement off the ball demonstrated an understanding of the game that transcends ordinary skill. By converting frustration into determination, Messi showcased the hallmark of elite athletes, the ability to turn adversity into motivation. While some might have allowed the earlier confrontation to disrupt their rhythm, Messi used it as fuel, creating opportunities, threatening defences and consistently putting Inter Miami in advantageous positions. Critics who doubted his influence or suggested that the intensity of the situation could affect his performance were proven wrong almost immediately. Messi's actions on the pitch communicated confidence, mastery and control, sending a clear signal that the game is his platform for expression. Rather than responding with anger, rhetoric or visible retaliation, he let the brilliance of his football speak for itself. Each successful pass, every deft touch and each incisive run served as a rebuttal to any doubters, reinforcing the idea that true excellence requires neither explanation nor justification. Fans watching the match could feel the weight of his presence. His performance was not just effective, it was authoritative, commanding attention and respect without a single word. Messi's ability to maintain composure under scrutiny also highlighted his psychological strength, a critical component of elite performance. He understood the optics of the situation, recognising that the confrontation earlier in the match had amplified attention on him, and yet he chose to respond in the most elegant and impactful way possible through play. This method of communication reinforces a fundamental truth about his leadership and status in football. Impact is measured by outcomes and execution, not by verbal declarations. By allowing the quality of his game to define the narrative, Messi demonstrated that his influence is both enduring and undeniable, and that the ultimate rebuttal to criticism lies in demonstrating skill, intelligence and poise simultaneously. Every action he took during the remainder of the match reinforced this principle. Messi's ability to control moments of tension, turn pressure into opportunity and deliver results on the field exemplified the idea that excellence speaks for itself, creating a narrative where performance silences doubt, brilliance answers skepticism, and football becomes the ultimate language of achievement. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.